Hey guys, it's Joe and Ribs here with a Spire side chat. It's been a few days since the last one of these. Just haven't had time or energy to record them. I've been busy with stuff off stream and on stream. There's been a lot to do too. I've been playing the new class, the DEFECT, which is what we're looking at right now. Also started up a Long War 2 campaign. Long War 2 is a mod for XCOM 2, which I spent 6 months as a volunteer working on, and it's awesome and I love it. And if you're interested in seeing me play it, I'm doing it on stream every day right now. Stop on by. It's like an older thing. It's been out for a little over a year, so it's not like brand new and everything. But I'm taking a stroll down memory lane. I sort of missed it. BattleTech came out, and BattleTech's sort of similar to it, but not as good in my opinion. BattleTech's great, but I mean, Long War 2 has a special place in my heart, so I got the craving. Yeah, so I haven't had time for Spire side chat, but I wanted to give you guys first impressions of the DEFECT, and these are first impressions. I have played, I believe, 24 runs with the DEFECT so far. We're up to, like, Ascension 13, apparently, and that means I'm 13 and 11, I guess. So I'm 13 and 11 on the DEFECT so far. Yeah, 21 hours of wisdom coming at you. It's extremely first impressions. One, DEFECT's a lot of fun, a lot of potential, lots of new puzzles to solve, which are not really present for the Ironclad and Silent. And I think really good variety for the game. And I think it's promising that a class with a very strong new identity, which can clearly be separated from what the Ironclad or the Silent do, is coming to the game. It bodes well for the game on release, and it bodes well for future content. The devs have said that they're interested in getting more classes into the game once it's released officially, and however they do that, if they do that. I mean, they made the Ironclad and the Silent, and those are both pretty cool, and they've made the DEFECT, and this is pretty cool. It seems like they've got lots of ideas. The other thing I have to say about the DEFECT is the DEFECT has so many ways to scale, like, multiplicatively out the years, like, just sort of break a fight as you go past turn 5, and so few ways to be comparably strong in turns 1 through 3. That's the thing that I've noticed most playing the DEFECT. And, I mean, some of this is that I'm still learning how to play the DEFECT, probably, and so I'm missing some of the really strong early game strategies that I maybe should be picking up on. But I think a lot of it is just actually that's what the card pool is. The orb mechanic for the DEFECT creates these passive... It's sort of like putting a bunch of metallicizes and combusts the Ironclad powers, which make you block and damage, into play. It's a little bit like that, and so they have, like, linear scaling in terms of how much block they make. They make more block every single turn, or how much damage they make the same amount extra damage every turn. If you get orb cycling, it gets all complicated and stuff, but in general, the orbs are, like, something that you can set up and have be linear scaling for you, and that's, like, the unique mechanic of the class. So the entire class is about the scaling mechanic. Something like Capacitor to gain you 1 orb slot. This is a power which is strictly about scaling up as the fight goes on. And then there are other, like, just very, very strong things that the DEFECT can do to scale up. Creative AI at the start of each turn, add a random power card to your hand, so if you get this in play, stuff starts going completely insane. Echo Form is another very strong power, which can do some pretty crazy stuff for you if you can get it into play, but this is just going to take a long time to get into play. Compare this to Demon Form, I think it's a reasonable comparison. And there are, like, some really insane infinite combos that you can pull off with this class as well. Meteor Strike is this 5 energy card. 5 energy. It deals 24 damage and channels 3 plasma. So plasma orbs gain you 1 energy every single turn, and if you're able to consume them, they'll gain you 2 energy on the spot when you consume them. So you can work out some way to like play a Meteor Strike and then consume the Plasma Orbs, and you've gained 6 energy, and then you play another Meteor Strike somehow. Get an infinite combo going with that. And that's, I mean, that's like a 1-card infinite combo, basically. Like, for example, if you had Prime in play, whenever you channel an orb, draw a card, and you had Meteor Strike, you could just play Meteor Strike, you channel 3 plasmas, so you draw 3 cards, and then you like draw Meteor Strike and play it again. And you keep on consuming the plasmas because you don't have enough. This is like a 1-card infinite combo. That's why I'm pointing it out to you. Creative AI is another, pretty much a 1-card infinite combo. So there are some very, very, very strong things that you can do with the Defect to scale up. There are also a lot of cards which are strong once you've gotten going, but aren't strong at the start, which is really interesting to me. So something like All for One, deal 12 damage, put all 0-cost cards from your discard pile into your hand. This is a pretty strong card. There are a number of 0-cost cards for Defect, as well as a number of 0-cost colorless cards, which you can add to a strategy based around All for One. But this card's not going to be great on turn 1, right? It's probably not going to be that insane on turn 2. This is a card which usually, unless your deck's completely bonkers and doing everything on turn 1 somehow, usually that's starting to get really impressive on turn 3 or 4. Amplify, your next power is played twice this turn. That is like so cute. It does absolutely nothing until like forever from now. Cool. That's great. Machine Learning, draw an additional card at the start of each turn. Very slow. Fusion, channel 1 plasma. So plasma makes you 1 energy next turn, and then another energy the turn after that. And then this card starts paying off for itself 3 turns from now. Multicast to evoke your next orb X times. You don't have a great orb to evoke at the start of a fight. Prime, this is a draw engine, which takes forever to get set up. Nova, deal 3 damage to all enemies for each power played this combat. You haven't played any powers yet on turn 1. Thunderstrike, deal 7 damage to a random enemy for each lightning channel this combat. You haven't channeled any lightning yet on turn 1. There are just a lot of things going on in the rare slots where like this doesn't help you straight away. It'll get there eventually, but not right now. And you can say the same for some of the cards in the uncommon slots for sure as well. I'm not going to point out every single one of them, but I want to point out a couple in particular. I think Force Field's a fascinating card to demonstrate this concept. 4 energy, plus 1 less for each power card played this combat, and you gain 12 block. Force Field's one that I keep on coming back to because I desperately want to have higher availability of good block in my Defect decks early on in fights, usually. And every time I see Force Field, I just like feel sad. Because yeah, like 12 block for 1 energy, that's the right price to be paying. But I can't get it to be 12 block for 0 or 1 energy until turn 3 or 4. That isn't my problem. Defragment's a really good example. Gain 1 focus, so focus makes it so all of your orbs do more. So your lightning orbs, instead of hitting for 3, they start hitting for 4. Your frost orbs, instead of blocking for 2, they start blocking for 3. This is all about linear scaling. It doesn't do much at the very start of a fight. So, with all this said, I wanna point out some cards which are really good at the start of fights. And for block, in my experience, like everything's about uncommons. I don't know how to block with this class with commons. I just haven't really worked it out yet. And it's a pretty uncomfortable feeling going into a run and feeling like the best ways I can block with commons are Cold Snap, deal 6 damage and channel 1 Frost. That's sort of like setting up a really crappy Metallicize on your turn, sort of. Leap is like... The best thing you can say about this card is that it's inoffensive to put this into your deck. It's really hard to be excited about putting this into your deck, but yeah, I mean, getting some block for 1 energy, I guess. Cool-Headed, when upgraded, this draws you 2 cards, so this is sort of a nice card, sort of. Channeling 1 Frost, again, this is an orb which gives you 2 block every turn, assuming that you have an orb slot to keep it channeled. Or when consumed, it gains you 5 block, so you can consume a bunch of Frost Orbs to get a bunch of block. And the fact that it draws 2 means that it can fit into a fancy combo deck later, maybe. But it's such an iffy low impact card in Act 1. So yeah, like those are basically my commons. Stack is like game block equal to number of cards in your discard pile. Again, like, wow, that's an okay card in turn 3 or 4. Not so great in turn 1 or 2. So yeah, what I'm looking for at the start of defect runs right now is often some way to get block going on turn 1 and 2. And the most reliable ways, I think, Chill is all right. I don't think this card's insane. It spends 0 energy to make a little bit of block, which is like cool, but legitimately, I'm okay with spending some energy to make block. I want to be able to spend energy to make block. So Chill's okay. It's nice that this becomes innate and it channels 1 frost per enemy. So if you're in a fight with 3 enemies on turn 1, you can get 6 block per turn going for 0 energy on turn 1. And consume any other orbs you have in play, because you start out with 3 orb slots. So if you start with an orb or 2 from relics, you'll consume them and do something a little bit stronger on turn 1 with that, perhaps. A really, really strong option is Glacier. This gains you 9 block and puts 2 frost in play, so it gives you the upfront block that you need to deal with enemies who are attacking you on turn 1, and gets you lasting block for the next few turns. I actually think the genetic algorithm is okay. If you get this early, this card exhausts, so you can only play it once per fight, but every time you play it, it gains 2 block for the rest of the run, or if upgraded, it gains 3 block for the rest of the run. So if you can get this early, you have, 1 card that blocks for 15 for 1 energy in your deck. That's fine. And then later on, it gets up to more like 25 for 1 energy, and at some point, you might be like drawing that on the Champ's Execute turn and actually having it be a very good card for your deck. Reinforced Body. This is like an excellent solution to the problem I'm describing. It's an X card, which gains 7 block X times or 9 block X times when upgraded. Sometimes you just need to be able to spend your energy on a block, and Reinforced Body lets you do that while only taking up 1 card slot in your deck, so it's not in the way of engine pieces if you're trying to build an engine to win fights with. Yeah, it's just solid. That's sort of it. I think that's like 2.5 cards, basically, so Glacier, Reinforced Body, and half from Genetic Algorithm. Chill is like okay, Buffer's okay, Auto Shields is okay. Often you'll just end up accidentally making a little bit of block while you're playing your turn, often before you've drawn Auto Shields, so that can be problematic for you. But this is my recurrent problem with the class right now, and the puzzle that I'm trying to solve is how do I consistently block in order to set an engine up? Or if I'm not going to be able to block to set an engine up, it's like playing Silent on crack, sort of. Like some Silent decks, you'll get like a bag of marbles and some backstabs, and you just like don't have a block engine worked out yet, and you just start trying to kill everything. So Silent Backstab is an innate attack for 0 energy, which deals 11 damage, and Bag of Marbles makes everything vulnerable on turn 1. So like, yeah, okay, so like you can't block very well, but you're killing everything, so maybe it's okay. Defect, like, Defect has considerably less good options than Backstab, in my opinion. Hyper Beam is a really cool and very strong card. Upgraded, this deals 32 damage to all enemies. It loses you 3 focus, which is maybe not that big a deal when you've dealt 32 damage to all enemies. Focus is the thing which controls how much output your orbs have, so your orbs start outputting 3 less of everything. But yeah, you can like try to make Hyper Beam work to just kill everything before it kills you. There are some decent attack commons, like Cold Snap isn't that bad. Ball Lightning, this deals a lot of damage. 11 damage for 1 energy is a pretty good output, and Channeling 1 Lightning, that's an extra 3 damage per turn to a random enemy. or channel that deals 8 damage. There are a bunch of like 0 card strategies. There's a lot of card draw and stuff, so you can get to a point where your deck just has a lot of card draw and things and has a pretty strong turn one off that, but it's tough. It's tough. And so that's been my consistent issue with the defect, is trying to work out how to make turn 1, 2, 3 work. And if you like look at highlights of the defect being played, usually in my experience, the things that are getting highlighted are like, oh wow, you dealt 400 damage on turn 12. Oh wow, you have 240 block for free every turn on turn 12. Oh, look at that, you have 1,200 energy on turn 12. So, yeah, the class does some really, really strong things later on in fights, but trying to work out how to build a deck which is good on turns 1, 2, and 3 is fascinating to me right now, and where I'm focusing most of my efforts. So I'm interested to hear if you guys have had similar experiences to me so far, if you're playing the defect, what solutions you're finding to working out how to block early, or if you're finding consistent strategies for dealing a lot of damage early. I think that like it's possible to make some of these 0 cost attacks work pretty well. FTL is a good one. Deal 5 damage if you have played less than 3 cards this turn. Draw a card. That can fit in with All for 1. Deal 12 damage and put all 0 cost cards from your discard pile into your hand. You can do some pretty cool things with 0 cost cards and card draw and All for 1 if you get All for 1, but All for 1's rare. I'm just consistently struggling a little bit to make this all work. Oh, they've recently released new uncommons, so these are having to do with focus, I think, all of those. Not really relevant to our current problem. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about the defect so far, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing my first thoughts. I'm really excited to see how this class develops. I've been having fun playing it so far, and yeah, I am looking forward to seeing what's next. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.